So this is my Fuse Zamasu God deck. It's a pretty basic deck. It's nothing too fancy. It ain't ideal. I was gonna tech in some other cards, but I decided to just, you know what? I'm gonna just go straight God, right? All the battle cards are gonna be God cards. So they are. Piccolo, interesting enough, he's a Namekian and a God, so he automatically fits in the deck. Guardian North Kai is a God, so he automatically fits in the deck. So then, of course, let's talk about the leader first. Alright, Fuse Zamasu, his front side. Auto main, once per turn, choose one card from your life and place it into the drop area. If the card that is sent to the drop area, right? If the card that's sent to the drop area, if the card you place in the drop area with this skill was blue, draw a card. Can't believe I'm having trouble reading, because I'm actually trying to read the card on this image. It's a little blurry, but anyway, you get the idea. So you choose a card from your life, send it to your drop area to draw a card. Relatively simple. So he obviously self-awakens. You have 4 or less life. You can awaken him by flipping him over and drawing 2 cards. His awakened side, which is Absolute God Fuse Zamasu. Permanent effect. If you are dealt damage, if damage is dealt to your life, if 1 damage is dealt to your life, you send 5 cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard instead. If you take 2 damage to your life, you send the top 10 cards of your deck to the graveyard instead. Auto, when this card attacks, draw a card. So it's a self-milling deck. Once you get to the Absolute God Fuse Zamasu side, because anytime you don't block, or anytime you're letting your opponent or anytime your opponent's attacks get through, like double strike or just a single attack, you will send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. I think also this will also apply to critical. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now that this might override critical effect. So instead of you sending damage from your life to the graveyard, you would just be milling the top 5 card of your deck instead, which would be good against, you know, Vegeta decks and any deck that uses a lot of critical attacking battle cards, right? Then, you know, when he attacks, you draw a card. So you're gonna be running through your cards pretty quick once you awaken. So hopefully they come out with a lot of blue, of course, cards that work in the graveyard. That will work great with this Zamasu. But the main thing is once you become an Absolute God Fuse Zamasu, you're essentially a god, right? So you don't have to block as much, but you know, you have to sacrifice cards from your deck in the process. At least you can focus, you know, on attacking your opponent. That's the thing, is like, that's a crazy effect where instead of losing life, you're just milling cards instead. And you have start off with 50 card deck, so you're not gonna lose the game anytime soon. It's gonna take a while. Opponent's gonna have to hit you really hard for a couple turns. So once you awaken, you're gonna be sitting on easy streak for a while. So I'm definitely a fan of that effect. Alright, so your main deck, Zamasu, 6 drop, 4 of them. Zamasu, the Alert God. You can evolve him for 3 blue, 2 of anything using any Zamasu. Effect, indestructible. Can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. And can't leave the field. Very, very powerful. It's a 25,000. And because it's indestructible, you don't have to worry about defending it, blocking to keep it on the field. Once you put it on the field, it'll stay on the field. It's almost like having another leader on the field. You can attack, don't have to worry about it dying because it'll stay on the field, so that way every turn you can attack. So this is definitely going to be one of your main swords in the deck. Auto effect: when your opponent's cards attacks, if your leader is Zamasu or Goku Black, you may place 1 card from your hand in the drop area. If you do so, negate that attack and negate this skill for the duration of the turn, which is good. It's like Weese's cohesion, so it's like, really good. The ability to negate an attack is always useful, and the fact that you can do it even while he's rested. It's not like he's a block or anything. So you can attack with him, of course, and then if your opponent ever tries to attack your leader, you can just, pitch a card from your hand in order to negate that attack once per turn. So that's obviously really good. Then you got your 4-drop Zamasu, the Invincible. He has the effect Indestructible, which makes him pretty much invincible, right? And he has a permanent: if your leader card is Zamasu or Goku Black, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand or battle area by 1. So think of him as a 3-drop, because you automatically you automatically have Zamasu, so he's automatically a 3-drop in your deck right off the bat. So 3-drop, 15,000, indestructible. Great sword, and he'll definitely put in some work before you get to your 6-drop Zamasu. Then you got your 4-drop 20k Beerus, double strike, which is always good to have that effect. Although when you play this card, your opponent chooses a number of cards from their hand equal to the number of battle cards in their battle area with an energy cost 1 or less, and places the cards on top of their deck in any order they want, and then they take those battle cards that cost 1 energy or less and add it back to their hand. This is a good way of getting rid of a lot of 1-drop blockers, or 1-drop cards in general. And you never know, they might create some indestructible 1-drops in the future, right? So you might want to be able to bounce them to your opponent's hand and get them out the way. But mainly you'll definitely want to get rid of blockers with that effect. Remember, these are all gods, so that's something to keep in mind. They all have the special trait God. And of course, more Beerus. Energy boosted Beerus, 4-drop, 20k, double strike. So you essentially have 8 20k, double strike Beeruses in the deck. Although when you play this card, if you have 5 or more energy, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO them. It's a good way of getting rid of anything that's problematic, anything that's not indestructible. Alright? You typically want to play him on your 5th turn to get that effect. If you play him on your 4th turn, you don't get that effect. You'll just have a 20,000 double striker. We have Whis, the Sacred Guard, a 4-drop blocker, 20k. 20k blocker is always good. Permanent: when this card cannot be KO'd by your opponent's skills, it can't leave the field by your opponent's skills. So it has a watered down version of indestructible, Yeah, because an indestructible blocker would be crazy, right? Then we got Whis, the resting attendant. He's another god, and when he comes into play, take the top card of your deck and put it into your energy, you know, inactive mode, which is the good part because you can use it, especially if you use it to play a Universe 10 Supreme Kai Gowasu. Auto, when you play this card, look at the top 3 cards of your deck for a god among them and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. He has the characteristic god. So if you play him and you look at the top 2 cards of your deck and there's a copy of him, grab that copy, right? Shuffle your deck. And if you have the energy to play the second copy, play the second copy, look at the top 3, you know, keep going. Good deck bidding. But of course, since every card in this deck is god, you can as long as there's a battle card among the top 3 cards of your deck, when you play them, you can add pretty much any one of them to your hand, which is why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go straight god instead of putting some non-god cards in this deck. So that way, when you play them, as long as they're battle cards, you can always add one of them to your hand. And like I said before, Guardian of North Kai, he's a god, he's a blocker, a 1-drop blocker. Boost Attack Piccolo is a Namekian god, and he's the 0-drop 10k that lets you draw a card when you have 4 or less life when you combo with him. Then we got, for the extra cards, for Father Son Gallic Gun, active main, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and return it to their hand. Cards stacked under them are sent to the drop area. So this is a good way of slowing your opponent down, you know, making them bouncing something they have on their side, feel back to their hands, making them resummon it, especially if it's a blocker that has revenge. You might want to play this to get rid of it so your opponent can't use it to block you, because you're going to want to attack, especially if you're trying to go for game. This is good to get rid of anything like that. It's definitely good to get rid of any blockers in general is worth getting rid of. This is a good, you know, spot removal card. Let's say your opponent played a card, like he played the card because of some type of effect. They got the card onto the field, and there's cards on there, right? So you play this, bouncing that card back to their hand, and then the other cards will go to graveyard, just like this card says. Those cards that are placed under it go to the drop area. So whatever card they had, they will have to replay it again. Especially if what they played was like let's say a 10-drop, but they were able to summon it on the 4th turn or something. Well, for 2 energies, you can bounce that 10-drop back to their hand, get rid of the cards that was used to summon it, and now they're gonna have to wait a long time to use that card. They'll probably just throw in their energies, like, I'm not gonna be able to summon this anytime soon, so let me throw into energy and continue playing. And it's almost the same as if you destroyed the card. Granted, whatever you bounce to the hand, they will be able to use it to like combo. So there's that. Especially if it's something that has 0 cost, they can obviously combo with it. But if you bounce something that is like a 10k booster for like comboing, but it costs 1 energy, but they're all tapped out of energy, well, they're not going to be able to use that to combo with. I just wanted some type of spot removal in the deck, so that's why it's in there. Want some way of being able to slow my opponent down or get rid of anything problematic, at least for a turn. Then Senzu Bean. And of course, if you combo Senzo Bean with like you play Senzo Bean to get a power boost, then untap 2 energies, and then play Father Son Galley Gun to bounce something on your cross field back to the hand, and then you can attack. So there's a combo right there. Senzo Bean, of course, can stack. You can play more than one per turn, so you can add up to 5Ks relatively quick and be able to untap a good amount of energy. The more energy you have on your side field, the better, of course. So you can do a whole bunch of combos. Whis' Cohesion, it's a 1-drop attack negator. Once you play it and negate an attack, then you can untap one of your energies. That way you have an energy available to use for something else. And then, just because he's all god, 2 Zeno the Playing God. It's 7-drop, 15k. Auto, when you play this card, negate all other battle card skills, then choose all cards in both players' hands and in their battle cards. Return them back into the decks, shuffle the decks, and then both players draw 5 cards. Cards that are stacked under cards are placed in the drop area. So it's a really good way to reset. I know there's a 7-drop Beerus, which is really good, and if I'm right, he does have the God classification. I could have put him in the deck, but I wanted an excuse to play Xenos in the deck, so I put Zeno in the deck, because he's relatively searchable. If he's on the top 3 cards of your deck when you play Kowasu. But it's a good card. I like it. So I just wanted an excuse to play it. And that's the end of the video.